printed it as fact, and then it's an absolute lie.
Donna Summer was the queen of disco, whose crown came with horrible experiences she got from her colleagues. She dealt with pain, tears, sleepless nights, and anguish every now and then as she rose and remained in the spotlight. Far from what many believed, some of her colleagues made sure her journey was rough, and she hated them for that.
And I spent a lot of tearful nights, a lot of sleepless nights.
In this video, you'll get to find out the 7 musicians who Donna Summer hated the most and why. These stories aren't just tales. They were the sad realities of a woman who existed with one of the best voices in history. So sit down till the very end. According to Donna, the #1 name on her list is Rod Stewart.
Because I'm black and I am also Donna. I am Donna first.
In 1975, as Donna's music career began to thrive, she decided to leave Europe and move back to America. For years, Europe had embraced her voice, her rhythm, and her art in a way she had never fully experienced at home. But with fame now within her grasp, Donna believed it was time to return to the country that had once overlooked her and prove that she could shine there too. What she didn't expect was that the place she called home would become the source of some of her deepest pain, and one of the people she admired would disappoint her most. When Donna returned to America, she found the music industry to be colder than she remembered. The open arms she expected were replaced by judgmental glances, and the warmth of appreciation she had enjoyed in Europe was now shadowed by prejudice. Her return coincided with a cultural moment when America was still struggling to accept black women in mainstream pop music. The disco scene was booming, but behind its welcoming surface lay the same old divisions. Among those she thought she could lean on was Rod Stewart, a fellow artist she respected and expected to understand her struggle. Both were international stars, riding waves of fame. But when Donna needed support, she said he turned away. She believed that someone with his influence could have stood by her, could have helped her fight through the subtle yet persistent racism that followed her. Instead, she felt abandoned by him at a time when her color made her an easy target. That lack of solidarity left a wound that never faded. For Donna, racism wasn't an abstract idea. It was a battle she had known since childhood. Growing up, she saw how cruel people could be over something as meaningless as skin color. She recalled a moment from her childhood when a classmate called her Negro. The insult burned so fiercely that she lashed out and beat the child who said it.
I jumped him. I jumped off the steps and I jumped right on him and beat him up.
Even as a little girl, she couldn't understand why anyone would treat her differently for being black, and she vowed never to let such hatred define her. So when Stewart treated her as less than equal, the anger resurfaced. And though she rose above it all, she never forgot those who failed to support her when she needed them most. #2. Jane County. County remains one of those musicians who was unapologetically bold, raw, and never afraid to stir controversy, even if it came at the expense of others. Known for her sharp tongue and confrontational nature, Jane County was popular during the 1970s and 80s, a performer who thrived on rebellion. But her name became entangled in one of the most painful chapters of Donna's career, one that left the disco queen deeply wounded and fearful of the media for a while.
See anybody, I felt like people when they interviewed me would be nervous wrecks. They would think I was going to come out in a night.
The tension between County and Summer didn't start from personal interaction, but rather from the ripple effect of what County set in motion. In early 1991, at the height of Donna Summer's fame, rumors began circulating that the singer had made homophobic remarks during a concert, comments allegedly linking homosexuality and AIDS to divine punishment. For a woman whose fan base had been largely supported by the gay community that embraced her music and celebrated her as a disco icon, the accusation was devastating. And even though she denied making such comments, the damage was already done, and this made her lose countless fans.
I never said that. That is a rumor that has been perpetrated by someone who was obviously having a problem that day.
In the view of Donna, County played a crucial role in bringing those alleged comments into the public eye. County, known for her fierce defense of the LGBTQ+ community and her disdain for hypocrisy in the entertainment world, reportedly helped push New York Magazine to run the story that amplified the controversy. What might have been an unverified rumor suddenly exploded into a full-blown scandal, dominating headlines and tarnishing Summer's image almost overnight. Donna was blindsided. The media painted her as someone she didn't recognize, a villain in a narrative she didn't control. And at the center of that storm was County, an artist who, in Summer's eyes, had used the power of the press to ignite public outrage without concern for truth or context. The fallout was brutal. Summer, once adored by her fans in clubs and dance floors across the world, found herself shunned by parts of the same community that had helped shape her success. She spent years trying to repair the damage, clarifying her beliefs and attempting to prove her love and respect for her fans. But the rumor, once unleashed, refused to fade easily. County's role in fanning those flames became something Donna never forgot or forgave. Number 3. Sylvester James. Like Donna, Sylvester dominated the disco industry at a time. But behind the glitter and the high notes, tension brewed between the two stars, one that grew from artistic criticism and eventually turned into quiet resentment. Donna, celebrated as the Queen of Disco, was known for her ability to blend sensuality, emotion, and spirituality in her music. Her hits often carried deep feeling, sometimes passionate, sometimes painful, and were layered with meaning. However, Sylvester wasn't impressed. In interviews and conversations within the music scene, he usually criticized Donna's songs, claiming that they were too focused on themes of pain or sexuality. He felt that her music lacked the joyful energy that disco represented, dismissing it as too emotional and too wrapped up in personal drama. For Donna, who had worked tirelessly to shape her art, Sylvester's continuous criticism became toxic. She saw his remarks as dismissive and unfair, especially coming from someone who knew the pressures of fame and artistic expectation. It wasn't just that he questioned her music, it was that he questioned her sincerity, implying that her songs were self-centered reflections of her own struggles. That was something Donna couldn't accept. In response, Donna addressed the matter gracefully but firmly in interviews. She explained that her songs were not personal confessions, but creative expressions inspired by the experiences of others.
So much about me as much as it's about the audience or the reader.
But that being said, it is about you.
Whether she sang about heartbreak, desire, or spiritual awakening, her purpose was to connect, to make listeners feel something real. She made it clear that not every song came from her own emotions, and that, as an artist, she drew from the world around her. At the same time, Donna acknowledged the impossibility of satisfying everyone.
Been criticized too, you know, but you can't please the world. You can only do what you hope to do.
Still, the tension between her and Sylvester lingered. She couldn't ignore that someone who shared her stage in the world of disco could be so harshly judgmental of her artistry. The feud didn't erupt publicly, but the emotional distance was there, a quiet bitterness that colored her perception of him. Moving to number 4, she makes Pointer's sisters. According to Donna, she was stalked by the Pointer sisters at one point in her career journey. Gradually, it led to tension, suspicion, and envy brewing between the disco queen and the R&B trio. At the height of Donna Summer's fame, her success was almost unmatched. Hit after hit, award after award, and a magnetic stage presence that set her apart from nearly everyone else in the scene. But not everyone celebrated her rise. Among those who seemed to carry resentment toward her, Donna believed, were the Pointer sisters. To her, it wasn't just professional competition, it felt personal. She reportedly felt watched, followed, and even imitated. The Pointer sisters, who were also enjoying success in their own right with a string of energetic hits, seemed unable to accept that Donna's dominance in disco had made her the face of a movement they too wanted to define. Their rivalry wasn't just about sound, it was about status, recognition, and visibility in a fiercely competitive era of female performers fighting for space in the charts and in the spotlight. Donna, who was known for her confidence and elegance, felt that the sisters' jealousy manifested in subtle but unsettling ways. She noticed similarities in styling, performance energy, and even song concepts that made her uneasy. It was as though the more she thrived, the more their resentment grew. The industry was small enough that artists often crossed paths at award shows, events, and studio sessions, and Donna could sense the tension in those encounters. To her, it felt less like admiration and more like surveillance, as though they were studying her every move. For someone as spiritually grounded and emotionally sensitive as Donna, this dynamic became exhausting. While she never turned the situation into a public feud, the experience left her cautious of the people around her. The Pointer Sisters, in her eyes, had crossed from friendly competition into obsession. Till the end of her life, people close to her said that the memory of feeling stalked and shadowed by jealousy stayed with her, and she consciously avoided them. Number 5. Barry White. Barry White was a legend in his own right. The deep, velvety voice, the sensual lyrics, and the larger-than-life persona that made him one of the most recognizable figures in soul and R&B. But behind the charm and the allure, Donna once found herself in a situation that made her uneasy, one that involved Barry and an offer she wanted nothing to do with. At the height of her fame, when Donna was ruling the disco world with hit after hit, she was surrounded by powerful figures, producers, managers, and fellow artists, many of whom saw her not just as a star, but as a potential tool for their ambitions. Among them was Barry White, whose business dealings and behind-the-scenes influence in the music world extended far beyond his public image. According to Donna, Barry tried to lure her into a business venture that she described as dirty, one that didn't align with her values or her faith.
Really be involved in a business that is dirty and was established on dirty grounds.
The offer wasn't a typical collaboration or creative project. It was something murkier, something that carried undertones of manipulation and exploitation. Barry, with his persuasive charm and commanding presence, believed he could convince her. He was known for his confidence, the kind of man who rarely took no for an answer. To him, Donna was the perfect fit, successful, beautiful, and trusted in the industry. Her involvement would have given his dealings a sense of legitimacy and glamour. But Donna wasn't easily swayed. By this point in her career, she had learned how dangerous blind trust could be in the entertainment industry. She had already experienced betrayal from people in the industry. So when Barry tried to cajole her into joining something that didn't sit right with her spirit, she refused. That decision, though wise, didn't come without consequences. Turning Barry down strained their relationship and created tension between them. Donna could sense his frustration, and he tried to mess with her, but she stood firm. Her moral compass wouldn't allow her to be part of anything dirty or degrading. She had seen what greed and corruption could do to people in show business, and she was determined not to be pulled into that darkness. Saying no to Barry White completely turned them from friends to enemies, and it lingered as part of the many trials she faced behind the glittering facade of fame. While Barry continued his career and maintained his powerful image, Donna kept her distance while nursing hatred for him. Number 6. Gloria Gaynor. The conflict between Gloria and Donna began when Gloria Gaynor openly called out Donna Summer, labeling her as a snub. According to Gaynor, Donna often seemed distant and unapproachable, particularly during industry events and encounters where fellow artists expected warmth and camaraderie. Gloria suggested that it felt like Donna's fame had created a barrier between her and others, a wall of superiority that made her seem cold. The tension escalated further when reports surfaced that Donna's bodyguards had been aggressive and overprotective, allegedly treating other artists and fans harshly during appearances and backstage interactions. For Gaynor, who prided herself on being friendly and open with both colleagues and fans, Donna's reserved nature and strict security presence seemed like arrogance. But from Donna's perspective, the situation was entirely different. In an interview addressing the issue, Donna clarified that she was not a snub, just a human being. She explained that while people often expected her to be endlessly cheerful and welcoming, she had her own moods, emotions, and private battles.
Burn off a lot of serotonin in your brain, and as a result of that, your body, you have mood swings.
Being in the spotlight didn't erase her right to personal space or moments of introspection. She admitted that she could have mood swings like anyone else, and that sometimes her silence or reserve was misread as pride or hostility. Donna also shed light on the real reason behind her bodyguard's extreme behavior. Throughout her career, she had found herself in genuinely dangerous situations. Instances where overzealous fans, stalkers, and even threats had put her safety at risk.
Very close calls in my life, near-death experiences and other things with other people, and I think that
the glamour of fame came with hidden fears, and those experiences had forced her to tighten her circle and rely on protective security. She said that the actions of her bodyguards weren't signs of arrogance, they were necessary precautions in a world where fame could quickly turn frightening. The accusations from Gloria Gaynor, who should have understood her more than others, was a hurtful one for Donna. Finally, at number 7, we have Mariah Carey.
to be humble with other people and then to do the diva thing on stage and maintain my own personality at all times.
While addressing humility in her industry, Donna stated that Mariah Carey represented a new wave of artists who often mistook extravagance for confidence. According to Donna, Mariah embodied talent beyond question. Her voice, her control, and her ability to mesmerize an audience were undeniable. But what concerned her wasn't Mariah's success, it was the attitude that came with it. Donna saw in her a reflection of how fame, when unchecked, could evolve into self-admiration rather than grace. By the time Mariah Carey came onto the scene, Donna Summer had already experienced the peaks and pitfalls of stardom. She had seen how adoration could make an artist lose perspective, and how the industry often encouraged ego under the guise of branding. Donna believed humility was an essential part of artistry, a grounding force that kept one connected to reality and to the people who made their music matter. Watching Mariah's unapologetic embrace of the diva persona, the luxury, the diamonds, the carefully curated image of perfection, Donna couldn't help but feel that humility had taken a back seat to spectacle. She admired Mariah's voice and her determination, but she found her behavior unnecessarily extravagant. The insistence on being treated as royalty, the public displays of excess, and the constant reinforcement of her own legend all clashed with Donna's values. Donna said that no matter how successful an artist became, there should always be a sense of gratitude and groundedness. Mariah's image, however, seemed to contradict that. From her lavish demands to her grand entrances and larger-than-life reputation, she appeared more invested in maintaining the diva myth than in fostering authenticity. And she didn't like her for that. Let's know your thoughts in the comments section. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, like, and share.